Let's talk waiver wire hitters. And a huge day for Kelenic across the doubleheader, 6 for 9 total with a homer, 4 RBI, and the steal. Last 16 games, he's batting .339 with 5 homers, 13 RBI, and 3 steals. What size league does Kelenic need to be rostered in? He's up to 61% rostered. So you could say, 12-team 3 outfielders, 12-team 5 outfielders, something deeper than that. What do you think about Kelenic?
Any 5 outfielder league.
But we're not up to 3 outfielder leagues yet. He's not a must.
Oh, definitely not a must. Could I see a scenario where I add him in a 3 outfielder league? Sure. I mean, I had him pretty high on the sleeper hitters list for this week, and so far so good as far as that goes. Yeah, I like that he's running more in the leadoff spot. All 3 of his steals have come in his I think last 3 weeks, and he's hitting for some power and obviously hitting for average too. Still striking out too much. Still struggles against sliders in particular, but.
I think he homered off a slider today, though.
Yeah, and he had a home run off a cutter, which I know isn't a slider, but it's kind of similar. The other day, becoming the first left-hander homer off Nestor Cortez this year. And, his numbers against changeups aren't so bad. Like, I think... we were talking about Jackson Chourio and your hope for him rest of season. I think I have a little more hope for Jared Kelenic, which maybe is revealing of how I feel about Jackson Chourio, because I don't rank Jared Kelenic as a top 50 outfielder rest of season, but in that leadoff spot for the Braves, I think he's going to be certainly more useful than Jackson Chourio has been so far.
How would you guys rank these corner infielders rest of season? They're all less than 60% rostered on CBS. Ryan O'Hearn, Nathaniel Lowe, and Jose Miranda. They all did something of note here on Wednesday.
I think I'd go Lowe, O'Hearn, Miranda.
Man, Lowe has been so bad, but he's the one everyday player of these 3, I guess. And
he's had the best
every day. I haven't checked in a while.
Yeah, he is, and he's had the best season of them all, and probably the second.
Oh,
and
like
maybe the
in
third.
History
Yeah. I think
he
he might have had the second and third best seasons among them as well.
Yeah, I guess so. Just because of the playing time, but man, the production has been so lacking so far. But Miranda's the only one of these 3 you can play at third base, which might put him at the top of the list in terms of usefulness. But yeah, I mean, just in terms of all positions being equal, I'll go Lowe, Miranda, O'Hearn. Lowe, O'Hearn, Miranda.
Any interest in these outfielders? Brandon Marsh had a huge game in Detroit, 4 for 4 with his 7th home run, added 4 RBI. Matt Vierling, 2 for 4 with his 10th homer, had a huge May, but has slowed down quite a bit here in June. And Miguel Andujar keeps on hitting. It's just kind of empty. 2 for 4 with nothing else here in this game. Any interest in those outfielders? Marsh, Vierling, Andujar.
I think this was Marsh's first homer in 2 months.
He was on the IL for a while.
Yeah, he missed some time, but I think the last time he had homered was April 26th. This was a good start, or a good performance. He's had stretches where he's been useful in the past, but we know what Brandon Marsh is. He's a platoon bat who gets hot occasionally and can be useful, but not someone that I think needs to be rostered. Even 46%, like that even feels a little high.
Okay. Some names in deeper leagues. Either of these matter. Andrew McCutchen, 1 for 5 with his 11th home run. Last 38 games, pretty big sample size at this point. He's batting .282 with 8 homers, 30 runs scored, and right around an .850 OPS. Again, that's McCutchen, Utah only. And Kyle Higashioka, once a Yankee, always a Yankee. 3 for 4 with a double dong, 6 RBI. A massive game here filling in for Luis Campusano. And if he has a couple more of these, I wonder if we could get a little bit of a Wally Pipp situation here out in San Diego. But any interest, Scott, deeper leagues, McCutchen, Higashioka?
Yeah. I mean, McCutchen, not so much Higashioka. I don't think Luis Campusano is going to be out for long. Higashioka was cutting into his playing time anyway, but Still not a question which Padres catcher I'd rather have rest of season. But McCutchen, I'm genuinely surprised he's been going that well for that long. I think his DH only status. It's interesting you said util only status, which I guess is the same thing, but it's interesting that you chose that terminology when I like DH only. Anyway, I guess that makes McCutchen easy to overlook. I mean, we were having trouble getting JD Martinez rostered in 70% of leagues. And so McCutchen's going to be a tough fit, I think, in standard 12-team leagues. But in deeper leagues, sure.
The thing that's really tough with McCutchen is, and it's actually surprising, it's the util only is what makes it tough.
You use util only too.
DH only, whatever. I think
DH only is more descriptive because util only makes it sound like he should be able to play everywhere.
It's the one. I think it's just the one league that I have him in. We use UT, and so that's in my mind. I did add him in Tout Wars because it's an OVP league. I am surprised at how much he's playing.
Oh,
yeah, me too.
Like
every day.
He has started 36 of the last 40 games for the
good
Pirates.
for your knees.
And if I'm remembering correctly, he tore his Achilles last year, right?
Partial tear.
Yeah, like it's wild how much he's playing and how well he's playing given that. But yeah, it's hard to say, yeah, this guy should be 70% rostered when there are at least 3 other U/DH only players out there, and it's already kind of hard to fit a JD Martinez into your lineup. Like I'm in one league where I've got Vlad Guerrero as my DH. There's no point in me adding Andrew McCutchen in that league, you know?
Chris, don't fall for Sky. You don't have to say DH. I just checked 3 different fantasy providers. They all use utility as the hitter you put in that spot. So
no, I understand, but they probably list that player's position as DH.
It's
right?
utility versus DH are very different terms,
right?
In baseball,
you gotta admit,
yeah, one is David Ortiz, one is Alfredo Amezaga,
right?
You know?
Hold on, this whole discussion just goes out the window. I just realized Andrew McCutchen has outfield eligibility on CBS now.
Oh,
well,
I have him in the Scott White Dynasty League. I just clicked on his name. It says outfield.
Yeah, he's only started 2 games in the outfield, but I guess he's moved there enough that he picked it up.
All right. Yeah. There you go. 15-team, 5 outfielder leagues. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, that just happened a few days ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that.
1 where he came in as a pinch, 2 where he came in as a pinch hitter, and then played the outfield.
What a loophole. My goodness. Waiver wire pitchers. It was a pretty light night on Wednesday. We spoke about Arrighetti. Any interest in these names, deeper leagues? Luis Ortiz of the Pirates, Joey Estes of the Oakland A's, and then game 2 of the doubleheader between the Cardinals and the Braves. Both Bryce Elder and Matthew Liberatore pitched well against each other. I don't know if they're going to stick around. Any of those things matter? Pretty deep league stuff.
I mean, it was interesting for both of them because I mean, Bryce Elder and Matthew Liberatore are pitchers that we've kind of written off in fantasy, right? And they both pitched great, and there were their velocity was way up on. They made interesting pitch decisions, and velocity was up on their most effective pitches on the day, like more than a mile per hour. It was almost up 2 miles per hour for Elder on both his sinker and his 4-seamer. And then he got all the whiffs on the slider, which he threw way more than usual. And he was on a good run at AAA. His last 4 starts there, 277 ERA, 104 whip, 12.5 K per 9. And then as for Liberatore, he got 10 whiffs on his slider, which he threw more and which was up 1.4 miles per hour. So like if that continues, maybe they could become something in fantasy. I think we're a long way from concluding that. And as you said, it's not even clear they're going to stick around. But I'm interested in seeing how the next start goes for both Bryce Elder and Matthew Liberatore. I could at least say that much.